Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. It's a theme month. For those who have been listening for a while, know that August is Asian Horror Month. And the reason why is I have just like, not an affinity, but I just...
A love.
Yes, I have a special love for Asian horror films in particular. And also, they are a little bit different flavor of horror.
Well, they also, they hit different, but honestly, especially where, supernatural horror is concerned, nobody does supernatural horror like Asians.
Well, it's like they have different, urban legends and stuff like that.
It's so rich.
Yes. But today we are covering, as you can see, Uzumaki, which was created by Junji Ito.
Was initially graphic novels turned movie.
Yes. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I am drinking, or we are drinking the Plum Deluxe Reading Nook Blend Black Tea.
We couldn't bring ourselves to drink different ones. It's our favorite from them.
Yeah. It's got black tea, rosebuds, lavender, chamomile, and it does have caffeine. So hopefully you don't get over caffeinated, because I know this is your not first.
I'll be fine. They do have a non-caffeine version of this one, though.
Yes, that's the nice thing about Plum Deluxe, is they do have some of their teas do have non-caffeine versions.
They have both versions available. So this is one of those that has two different kinds. They're the same kinds of ingredients and everything. It's just one has caffeine and one does not. So we appreciate that they have both of those options available.
Yes.
But this one in particular is it's a hug in a cup, and it's our favorite.
It is. Yeah. It's like you just want to drink it while you're sitting on the couch reading while it's raining outside.
It's perfect. Just snuggled up with a blanket.
Yes, but anyways.
Perfect.
Thank you to Plum Deluxe for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary of Uzumaki, so for those who do not speak Japanese, I am one of those people, so don't feel bad. Uzumaki means spiral. And so it's about this rural Japanese town that is cursed by spirals. And it's just random. Like, some of them turn into snails. Some of them, have their hair turn into spirals and then they get stuck in a telephone pole. Some of them, get twisted in a tire. It's just, some of them literally get twisted. It's just so random.
They die in such bizarre ways.
Yes.
If they die.
That's all related to...
Spirals.
Everything
is spirals.
Yes. So, this is so starting us off on entertainment, this movie I had watched as a teenager, right when... This was, after I had seen The Grudge. Can't remember if I had seen The Ring yet, but this was the prime, Alyssa is being introduced to Asian horror time. And when I watched this movie as a teenager, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And rewatching it now, I'm still like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yes.
But I will say, as a teenager, that was when I was like, okay, horror means it has to be scary. And I am not really that person anymore, so I got a lot more enjoyment out of it. So even though it's just such an odd movie. So it's like it's hard to rate it. It's like I have watched it multiple times, but it's also like you really have to be in the mood for it. So I'm giving it a 7. So for those who don't have a lot of backstory of Junji Ito, you can think of him as like the Stephen King of Japan, especially the fact that he takes really small concepts and tries to make them scary. Like in this case, it's spirals, obviously. He has another one where it's like being scared of cracks in the wall. He has another one where cats are scary, which that one is...
That one I can see.
Well, and that one's a little bit more towards like the comedy side. But anyway, I would recommend, just for additional expansion before you dive into this movie, if you haven't dove into this movie yet, look at his art. Like the art itself is like really like
It's well done too.
Yeah, like he's a really good artist, but it's also, it does very much lend into the types of stories that he's telling. But yeah, I will say, speaking of Junji Ito, I don't know if you saw the cameo, but there's a cameo, and it's just so quick and so random, where it's like the police is like yelling at the kids because there's like 2 people on a bike and that's illegal. And then it slowly switches to like a wanted poster.
Yeah.
And he's on the wanted poster.
Oh, I was wondering who that was. I'm like, why would you show?
Yeah,
Okay.
But it's like what a weird way to squeeze in a cameo.
Well, it's kind of like Alfred Hitchcock or M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, yeah. But oh man, like this movie does such a good job just expanding on the weirdness of the story itself, because like the background music. Like, the background music is so weird. It almost sounds like carnival music in some ways. Just, it's just so weird. And then, like, everything about this
music.
Yes.
Which would make sense.
Yes. And then, the camera angles are goofy. The transitions are goofy. Sometimes they'll add, like, really weird sound effects with the transition. Like, boing, like really weird.
So off the wall.
Yeah, it's a very off the wall movie. I will say that the effects are very dated. This movie, I think, came out in 2006.
It feels almost like 80s or 90s.
It's, well, I feel like early 2000s horror movies, that's just the vibe that they just, like, went for.
There was a lot of, like, latex rubber type stuff.
Yeah, but, yeah, the movie does a very good job just being strange.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't actually read the book version. I'm a bookworm in a fact that I have so many books, but I don't really take the time to read them. It's like I'm a book collector.
Like, yes, you have so many in the to be read pile, but you can't help but get more.
Yeah, and then it's like I'll reread my favorite books I've already read.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so me and Jess were like briefly like scanning through it, and it looks like the storyline is like a little bit different, or at least more expanded.
It does look more expanded. It looks fairly close.
Yeah, like they did have the snails, they had the weird hair. They had the fish cake scene. Like a lot of it was pretty similar. So I don't know how involved Junji Ito was in the creation of the movie, but anyways, this movie is very hard to explain. It's just one of those movies you have to go into expecting to just sit back and allow yourself to feel the experience.
Just go with it. Just go with it. At least this one has more of a plot, but it's going to be weird.
It's like it's surreal, but it still does have a plot. It's a little, it's unhinged. It's very hard to describe. So I would just say watch it. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's definitely like a very niche, like wacky horror type of movie. But it's like, and it's like in some ways, there are some parts that are a little bit creepy or a little bit like scary, but the majority of it is just like either or it's actually like legitimately funny. Like
Yeah.
but I don't think it's trying to be funny either. I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to be. It's just trying to be its own thing.
Yes.
It's just going off on its own.
Yeah.
Spiraling downward.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say. I will say what really did help this movie stand out, rather than fading in the background, is at least the characters are pretty distinct. Like between like the main girl character and her childhood friend that she has a crush on, the mother, and then the two fathers.
Actually dating.
Oh, they were actually dating?
Mm-hmm. They were actually dating.
Okay.
And it even says on here, withdrawn boyfriend.
Okay. But he was her childhood friend, though, too.
Yes.
But it's like all of the characters are very distinct and weird in their own, like, ways. So that, at least, I feel like whenever you have weird movies like this, it's hard to have those distinct type of characters. So that really is a very positive point of this film as well. But anyways, that's what I got for it for now.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you say?
This one, it's a weird one for sure.
Yeah, I recommended it to Jess, so I don't know if she knew what she was getting into or not.
I wasn't quite sure. It looked from the cover very odd. And I'm glad I went in with an open mind. I give it a 6.25.
Okay.
It is more of an artsy film.
Yes.
But it is interesting.
Like artsy, surreal.
Yeah, for sure. I love how it makes you look for spirals in every scene. Mm-hmm. There are times when they do like a camera effect where there's spirals in like the sky or the ground or something. If they don't have those, then it's like an image of a spiral, like a picture or something like that. Otherwise, it's numbers. There's so many 9s and 6s and 0s.
Oh.
So many. You didn't notice?
Mm-mm. And I even tried to look whenever you're in every single scene I'm looking for a spiral.
Every scene, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
But if you think about how you write a 6 or a 9.
And they even demonstrate it whenever, yeah.
It's a spiral.
Yep.
So that was really, really cool. I like how they did that. It is definitely more weird than scary. Definitely. There was no...
But it wasn't lazy, though.
There was no scare.
Like, they were definitely, like,
lazy.
effort.
Yes, for sure. The acting was really good. FX definitely dated it, for sure. But it was interesting. For sure. This one's just... It's an odd duck. Yes. I don't really know how else to put it.
There's no way else to put it. It is
like I legitimately
odd.
Like when I finished the movie, I was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
It's like there's comedy horrors that you're like, "Okay, that was pretty weird," and then there's like this kind of horror where you're like, "What category are you? Yes. What are you?"
But it was still interesting. I really enjoyed the plot. I was genuinely invested in it and wanted to know how it would end. I was rather sad when the love interest died, and to have him die in that way was just...
Yeah, that's pretty horrific. Especially when his girlfriend was like watching it happen.
And then holding him after.
And then him, like, turning, and then...
That was the one time where my stomach kind of dropped a little bit.
That was pretty freaky-deaky.
Yeah. So they did that scene really well. I wish it was a little less ambiguous as to whether or not she survived it, because he was crawling towards her, all demon-esque, and then it just cuts. And then it starts showing pictures of different people that have died in the strange circumstances of their death. So then it cuts to, like, a camera shot of her eye. And it's like, let me tell you about my hometown. A weird incident in my hometown. And then she closes her eye. And then it fades to black. So we kind of guess that she survives. And that she's telling it as a witness. But it's still very weird.
Yeah.
And ambiguous.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
They weren't very clear with that. All of the deaths are just odd.
And they're all unique. Like, you
so
think back through the movie and you can remember
they're
the majority
very clear deaths.
Yes. They're very distinct.
Very clear and distinct. And it's just so...
off the wall.
Yes.
Like the washing machine.
Yeah. Yeah. The snails?
Yeah.
The snails. The tire.
Honestly, the lady with the girl with the spiral hair that was on the telephone pole, I'm like, how did she die?
So it seemed, at least from the image, that the hair was pulling all of the nutrients and stuff out of her body because she looked desiccated.
Yes, she did.
So
it's like, I didn't know if it had wrapped around and like she starved to death or if it was like decomposition. Like, I didn't know, like, yeah.
Again, one of those ambiguous moments, and it's just, this really is just an odd duck of a movie.
Yes, it's something.
It is like a left-handed monkey wrench, like.
Yep.
So,
like, honestly, oh man, I should have asked V if he's seen this movie, because if he hasn't,
I feel like he has. If he hasn't, this is right up his alley.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'd be surprised if he hasn't seen it, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. So for realism, I give it like a 0.5.
That's fair. And mostly
It's
from
just,
the
yes,
interactions of people.
Yes. Like, the things that I really do enjoy that make this movie strong and still, like, has some sort of, like, stability in kind of reality is, like, the different character reactions. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, the love interest, like, taking care of his mother and the mother, like, really losing it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, the father was so obsessed with spirals and he died in such a horrific way. It mm-hmm. feels just like a continuation and natural that she would be terrified of spirals. Yes. And
I love the lengths that he goes to try to mitigate some of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even to the point of making people wear hats because people have, like, the spirals in their hair.
Yeah. Yeah. And then him, like, learning about the spirals in the ear and was, like, really mm-hmm. concerned about that. Which I will say one, like, Oogie scene that I did not appreciate is the millipede in the ear. Yeah. And it was fucking far in her ear. I'm like, why did you wake up sooner? Yeah. Like, it's like, what? But, like, that, and then, I feel like the main character, she really was more kind of like one of those characters where the audience is kind of like living through, like, she's observing and reacting to the stuff. The audience is like, yep.
Yeah.
And then the weird stalker classmate, I can see a situation where, like, it's this boy trying to impress a girl and not really understanding what she's looking for. And so he's just, like, going harder on, like, the pranks and stuff like that. And I can completely understand her reaction.
That's the only thing in his wheelhouse. That's the only thing he knows how to do. I get that. And I also understand the escalation.
Yes.
Like, if you're not going to go out with me, at least I'll make sure that you never forget me. And it usually, when it hits a stalker point like that, then it goes one of two ways. Either they kill the person that they're obsessed with, or they kill themselves.
Yeah. Yep. Man, what else do you say on realism? Like, my God.
None of the rest of it was realistic.
Yeah. It's
again, an odd duck of a movie. It's not going to make that much sense realistically.
No.
It's just a weird one. So, I wholeheartedly agree with the 0.5 of the realism rating. There's not really much else to say on it, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's not much you can say about it.
Yeah, I do feel like the boyfriend girlfriend, they did a really good job whenever he's like is dying and he's like talking to her and her reaction to it.
You feel the heartbreak.
Her wanting to like hold him
and comfort him through it, at least.
And then whenever like he turns, that's like all the more like heart-wrenching, because it's like, man, like he is not, it's like, you know, that used to be your boyfriend, but that's not
and he never
anymore.
wanted her to be hurt or anything. In fact, he spent most of the movie being like, we need to leave. We need to go. There's a problem. It's only going to get worse. We need to go.
Yeah.
And she's like, no.
Yeah.
Which I get it, because, you know, how can they just up and leave? Like,
it's
logistically.
Difficult. Yeah, it's like, first, they're teenagers, and second, like, it'd be hard leaving your parents, or convincing your parents. Well, first, convincing
even
your parents.
Just taking the parents out of the equation altogether. Mm-hmm. Like, logistically, money-wise, what are you going to do? Where are you going to live? How are you going to survive?
Yeah.
How are you going to even leave?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's a problem. So I get it, but at the same time, like, okay, yeah, let's maybe talk to people about, we should probably get the heck out of Dodge. Mm-hmm. There's a problem. So.
Yeah. Yep. So, any other points for the realism you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
No,
I will say,
I mean, like, there's small things, but they make more sense in the movie because everything is a spiral, but, like, how the windshield was broken and it's a spiral pattern in the car scene, like, it's just...
Like, everything relates to a spiral.
Nothing makes sense because it's all spirals, so...
Yeah. And, like, I will admit that on the one hand, them leaving the lore a little bit more open makes it a little bit scarier, because you're like, you know, who's safe, who's not, you know, you just know that it's happening to this particular town. But at the same time, it would have been kind of cool to, I mean, I'll have to read the manga to see if they expand on it anymore, but I would be kind of interested to actually understand the lore. Mm-hmm. But I know at least what tends to be with a lot of like Asian horror is, you know, sometimes not knowing is a part of the scary part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is like, all you know is that
they bring
in reality this thing is happening to you, but you don't know why. You don't necessarily know how to fix it, but you want to fix it. Mm-hmm. It's like, that is like a very helpless position to be in.
Yes. The fear of the unknown is a big factor of it, for sure.
Yep.
There's just like none of it is realistic. So, it's hard to gauge anything. You really, with this movie, it's so artistic, and that's
off the wall.
Like, it's an odd duck of a movie. You kind of have to just suspend reality altogether and just go with it.
I don't condone drug use anyways, but I couldn't imagine being on drugs and watch this movie. Like,
oh no.
It's like, it was a trip not being on anything. And
oh
my god, like, could you imagine like,
this on like shrooms or something?
Oh my god, that'd be terrifying. That'd be terrifying. Yeah, don't recommend anyone try any illegal substances, but aside from that point, don't even try it with this movie, because that would be terrifying.
I feel like this would be a bit more of a mindfuck than most people would bargain for.
Well, it's like more of a mindfuck when you're like not on anything.
Just so completely stone cold sober. Like, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, you don't need drugs when you have Uzumaki to take you on a trip.
And our favorite rocket ship.
Yeah, but I would love, for the audience that has seen this movie, I would really be interested in your thoughts and take on this. If you know more information, like background on this, I would be really interested to know. Because this is, like, I don't really hear a lot of people talk about this movie, especially when they bring up, like, you know, Japanese horror movies. This one kind of, like, fades in the background, and I don't know, it's probably because it's, like, so off-the-wall weird. But, I mean, Junji Ito is, like, extremely well-known, too, in Japan, so it's just this weird, like...
It's like a hidden one.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, if you like... So I don't recommend this movie for everybody, but if you like off-the-wall movies...
More artistic, almost.
Artistic, surreal, like, very odd, like, what the fuck movies, then this one's for you. You will probably enjoy it. But yeah.
It's easier to follow than some of the other more artistic movies we've seen.
Yes.
For
yes.
sure.
Yep.
But you're going to want to pay attention. It's an odd one.
Yep. But thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. And if you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Plum Deluxe available. It does not affect the price of the tea, it just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye!